battle for attention online. So what are you going to do to win the attention over someone else? You guys have a podcast, but who's to say that there aren't 50 other thousand podcasts that are out there? What are you guys doing different?
So you get a lot of agent-to-agent referrals, you'd say, more, or direct buyer and seller?
Mostly today it's agent to agent. So I'll get agents reaching out saying, Ed, you're in Jersey. Can you help us out with a client? So, and people do that to me, New York City too. They're like, oh, Ed, you can help us out with New York City because it's right next door. I'll take it. I'll refer it out to someone else out there, Yeah. So
one question that we asked Brooks, because it's always been something on our minds, it's very hard to track an ROI on the investment of time of putting things on social media and doing that aspect of it. Have you been able to at least correlate a return, like one video is one referral or anything of that kind?
Not one bit.
Not one bit.
Not one bit. I don't expect anything from my social media. That's my mindset. That's my truthful answer. I don't go out there and post, or I don't spend time on a piece of video and say, this video is going to produce me 16 leads over the next 3 years. Like, I have no idea. It could produce me zero. It could produce me 0 views. But why I do what I do on socials, because I build up my portfolio. Someone out there might either get triggered by it, might get inspired by it, might get emotionally happy from it, might laugh from it, might cry from it. I have no idea, but it's going to cause some sort of emotional trigger to go off in them for them to either remember me or hate me. And if they love me and remember me, then now we got something. We're building up that relationship. Yeah. They might stick around for a while. They'll watch the next video, and eventually that might turn into something. Or complete opposite. Oh, screw that guy. I hate his stuff. I'm out. It's okay. Go somewhere else, Yeah. So I don't really look at social media like an ROI. I got to post this much. I got to be on it this much. And those that do that, I applaud you, but that's a very type of personality that will bite you in the ass if you really truthfully stick to social media for that reason. I don't do social media for a job. I do it because I enjoy it. Yeah. And from that enjoyment, I get business from it.
Yeah. Which goes back to what you were talking about, the authenticity part of it, right? And when you're authentic about it, you're not actually looking to be compensated. So it helps being more authentic. Would you say out of the 150 transactions, how many of it would be from referral or from social in general?
I would say maybe less than 20%.
Yeah.
Something of that sort.
Got it.
I think what I've learned is that even, like you said, the A-type personality or the numbers people aren't able to put their finger on the pulse and figure out, like, all right, well, this video, this deal came from this. And like, rarely do people say, Ed, I saw this specific video about this, and that's why I want to work with you. It's more like over time, they've seen your stuff, and you're constantly planting seeds without even knowing about it, so that when the time is ready for them, you are top of mind. So I think what I've learned, at least, is it's about staying top of mind in prospects, taking up that mind space in a prospect's head. And
it's top of mind association, just staying on top. We're in a battle for attention. I just heard that the other day. We're in a battle for attention online. So what are you going to do to win the attention over someone else? You guys have a podcast, but who's to say that there aren't 50 other thousand podcasts that are out there? What are you guys doing different? Are you bringing on a special guest? Do you have a cool background? You do have a cool background. I give it to you. Many people just do it in their bedrooms, like myself.
We're actually in my mom's basement right now.
We're in Kiro's mother's basement.
Yeah. Love it, authenticity. And, things of that sort. It's like, how are you going to win someone else over? So this is why trends become a thing, because someone does it right the first time, and then others are, oh my God, they won the attention. Let me do that way, the way he or she does it. And then they start replicating each other. And then that means that's going to get oversaturated, which means then the next step is, well, we got to divert and find a different trend now. Let's find something else out there. And then you go and create something new, and then you get a guy that's skateboarding on a longboard with his ocean spray juice and, I guess, jamming out to, Fleetwood Mac. And then all of a sudden that becomes a big trend. And now all of a sudden everyone's doing that. And, So we are really in a battle for attention. So what are you going to do to win over someone else? And you got to do that consistently and every single day. And be persistent to it, and make sure that you're giving some value to people, not just begging with your arms out. Like, there's so many variables, again, I'm going to use that word, variables to this formula, and they're ever changing. Yeah.
When you're putting stuff out, are you sort of doing it with a thought process of, I'm doing this for buyers and sellers? Because most of what you're attracting, or at least what I'm picking up, is a lot of agent-to-agent referrals. So Is there a way to put out social that attracts agent to agent referrals? Do you even dive into it with that sort of mindset? Or are you just looking to attract all sorts of...
All sorts. It's all of the above. Whatever comes my way, comes my way. I have clients that follow me till today and they interact with my content and it has nothing to do with them from the consumer's standpoint, or maybe the buying, selling, renting, development. That has nothing to do with them, but they're there just because we know each other now, so we're cool. But then I have a lot of the content that I do put out there is more so to entertain realtors, is more so to give value to real estate professionals, lender, attorney, home inspector, realtor, you name it. Like, I want to get their attention. So the best way to get their attention is by providing value in the sense of entertainment, education. So if that works for attracting realtors and real estate professionals, then for those that are listening that want to attract consumers, you've got to do the same thing. I mean, it's very logical.
Yeah.
You want to attract a consumer, give them stuff that they want to consume on a daily basis.
Something that buys their attention instead of going to the other options. I know you said you built the team. It's about a year and a half old. How many people do you have on the team now?
We're at 12 and bringing on 2 more over the next month. So we should be just around 14 very soon.
Yeah, and that, which is incredible. So congratulations on that, first and foremost.
Thanks.
And did they all come from social media?
Majority of them did, yes. We've been connected online for a while. Majority of them are new agents too. Personally, I love teaching, I love hand-holding, and I like working with realtors that are hungry for business and will do whatever they got to do, meaning that they'll take care of my clients that I feed them.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of clients that are messaging me daily and talking to me, and I neglect them because just I'm doing so many things. Leaving to Los Angeles on Sunday to speak at an event out there. I'm excited, but that's going to take me away from my real estate business. So I got to make sure over the next 5 days my clients are being taken care of. So I have my team that is going to go ahead and show them houses, follow up with them, do their thing. And I've taught them already, and I enjoy that. It feeds them, it feeds me. I'm happy. So this is kind of how I've structured my team right now. It's like a lot of new agents. A lot of them are under a year old in the business.
Yeah.
But
That seems to be the common thread. It's easier to
Attract them than to find them.
Well, to attract them, when we're talking about, building out your team, attract new agents rather than, trying to bring on an existing agent and then teach them the philosophies or sort of bring them into the standards of your team, right? It's just so much easier. I mean, you can, someone who's got sales skills, like people who are in the hospitality industry or bartenders and waitresses, and try to teach them real estate is so much easier than trying to bring over a KW agent and say, hey, this is how we do it. And like you've said on other episodes, people will be like, well, we do it this way in our team, or we used to do it this way, or use the CRM and that sort of thing. So
question. So I know people who attract a lot of buyers and sellers from their social. They say that the buyers that they attract are very easy to work with because they're very similar personalities, like they connect very easily. The agents that you attract from social media, do you find that they are very common in terms of like their core principles, values that you have, because as you're very authentic on social as it is?
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like even you guys might have a similar answer to mine. Majority of the people that you attract to your page are following you because they have some sort of resonance with you in that sense. Like they can resonate with you for your character, for your value, maybe the way you act, your attitude, your sales skills. They're going to feel you. They're going to vibe with you. And if you ever have a conversation with them, more than likely they're going to be same eye level with you, mentally, whatever that might be. Yeah. So people that are on my team, the ones that are from social media, they know exactly what they're stepping into. Like they're getting this dude that sells real estate, is on social media a lot, does too many dancing videos on TikTok, and like this guy also sells. Like that's cool. Like I want to be with him. Yeah. And now the interview time comes, and it's like I don't have to be someone else. They already know what to expect.
Yeah. And
they're like, Ed, I already know you this, and you did that, and you got this person on the team. Like I just kind of sit back and like, all right, now what do you know? Like what do you know as a person? Why would you fit this team? So I don't know. That's what I've been wanting to do for a long time in life, and I think that's a lot of us want to do is create a business model that attracts people, as opposed to me going out there and chasing it. So I love when the phone rings and says, "Hey Ed, I saw you on YouTube. I saw you on Instagram, or you know my best friend, and you're selling their house. Can you help me out?" Yeah. I prefer those as opposed to a Zillow lead.
Have you always been comfortable? I mean, as someone who follows you will see is that obviously, like Hiro had said, you're vulnerable. You're not hesitant to like share funny stuff or show yourself
shit,
like joking around. You know, a lot of agents out there are like trying to be super buttoned up, and they're like, "Oh, my client may see this. I want to make sure I'm very refined." Was there ever a time where you were sort of acting within those guidelines, or have you always just sort of been an open book?
No, the beginning was very polished. You saw me in a suit always. You always saw me speaking very politely and very respectfully. And if an agent ever told me to, go fly a kite or something, I'd be like, "Thank you so much for your feedback. I apologize." Man, today I'm dropping gloves. We're going at it. Like
The jersey comes out.
jersey comes out.
That's awesome, man. It's interesting because we definitely went through that phase, and even with this like platform, and we're still not, knowing how to actually do it the right way because we're still in a sales mindset, and we're slowly learning that marketing and marketers, when you have a commodity like real estate, the person who's like the best marketer in that industry will be able to outperform anybody else. Not how good you can talk. It's not about that. It's how visible you can be seen to your audience and to the people that are actually going to use you and work with you.
Well, the best example is that 180 unit building.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole system. You gotta. It goes from one thing to the next. We're all entrepreneurs. There's no book that was handed to us and it's like, hey, this is what you do for year one. Year one, you're really gonna suck. Year two is when you're gonna kind of feel better, but you're gonna want to quit at times. Year three, you're really gonna want to like quit big time. And year four is when it really starts to roll, and you gotta make sure you have your CRMs and a virtual assistant. Like, there's no book that's given to us. I hear this from stories, and I hear it from personal experience.
Yeah.
Year three, I was done. I was hanging up the license. I was gonna go. I don't know what I was gonna do, but not real estate.
Fly a kite.
No way. I was gonna go fly a kite, as I've been told many times to do. So that's what I thought I was going to do. But there's no book, so you got to kind of figure it out. But it's one thing after another. And visibility and just being out there and being the marketer, that's a big thing for it. That's huge. It's a big element. Yeah. But next is having a system, because when you get that client that reaches out and says, "I saw you on Instagram. I love your pocket squares. You're always wearing different ones, and you got a nice Rolex. And man, dude, like you look like I vibe with you. I want to work with you." Great, that's awesome. Next step, you go up to an appointment. And they ask you 3 questions about the house, and you look like a complete fool. All right, and now you don't know what town you're in. I have no idea. HOA, I have to pull up my MLS and like this and that. All right, okay, you're doing that. Next step, putting them into the follow-up. Are you putting them into your CRM? Do you have someone following up with them? Yeah. Like the list goes on. And then, are you doing your due diligence as a realtor for them in the process of the transaction? Are you a listing agent and you don't know what a CO is? For the people that are not in New Jersey, we have CO, FML. I don't know why we do that.
It's like CO, MFL, FML.
Man, like, are you as a listing agent here in Jersey, like, are you taking care of the things for your seller? Do you even know what that is? Or are you going to find out on day of closing?
Yeah.
Man, like, if you don't have all this set up, it's just not going to happen overnight. This stuff takes time. Yeah. But, get proper mentorship, get some guidance.
Yeah. My first listing appointment, I'll never forget it. It was a company lead that came in, and I was in like a big brokerage. I was in Weichert Realtors, and they had the Weichert lead network that came in, and essentially you get paid like 10% for doing everything on there. But I was 18 years old. I was super excited, and I go to the appointment. I'm like, "Hey," he's like, "I want to sell it." I'm like, "Okay, that's terrific." He's like, "How old are you?" I'm like, "I'm 28. I'm 18. I'm like, "I'm 28. He's like, "Okay, how much you think?" I'm like, "It's, what were you thinking?" He was like, 180. I'm like, "Yep." I'm like, putting it on there. I'm so grateful it sold because I had no idea what the hell I was doing. And when I came back to the office, I'm like, "I got a listing. This is dope." I had no idea. Like you were saying, it's just like, it's a learning process. And I feel like the lessons never end. I've been doing this for 10 years. You've been 15, 16 years. And it's like we just learned what SOPs were like a couple of years ago. And we were like, why are we learning this now?
Well, we were talking with Tom Ferry about this. We're like, isn't it funny that, you're in the business sometimes, or at least this was my experience, but I feel like a lot of other agents can relate to this. You're in the business 2, 3, 4 years before you actually try to create systems and processes. Yeah. It's like, those first 3 years, you're just trying to throw enough shit at the wall and hope something sticks. You're doing anything you can to find clients.
Yeah.
You're taking everybody out at ridiculous hours whenever they want. You're submitting horrible offers. You're letting clients just walk all over you. And then you refine your systems a little bit. And then year 3, you're like, maybe I should have like a strategy, or maybe I'll set a goal this year and a business plan. Maybe I'll hire a coach. Maybe I'll finally get around to setting up an SOP, because I answer the same damn question to each client every time around. So it's just funny that we don't necessarily realize we're running our own business until a couple years into it.
So you take a step back and analyze it, because it's literally a lifestyle.